welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Arai, and this is Arai's Reading Corner. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the most popular booktube series that I have never read before and barely know anything about, and I'm asking you if they are really worth starting, or should I just skip them and not feel bad about it? So, as I've said many times before, since starting BookTube, I've definitely expanded the type of books that I am reading, but I'm definitely still behind on a lot of series, specifically a lot of fantasy series that I feel like everybody has read and most people have loved. So, I have went through and picked out what I see most popular series that are being talked about, and I want to share them with you, and then down in the comments below I would like you to tell me, should I read them, should I skip them, and then I'm gonna make a video of myself reading those videos, like a vlog style type video, and to see what my reaction is, if is it worth the hype or did it fall flat for me. So you pretty much are going to be deciding what I'll be reading for quite some time, because there's a lot of series on here. So let's get started. So the first series that I have not read so far is Six of Crows series by Leigh Bardugo. And I know I said that wrong. So I know this is a duology. I don't know much more than that. All I know is that it is fantasy and that a lot of people like this series. So should I read it or should I skip it? You tell me. So the next one I have not read so far is the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare, and this is an urban fantasy story, which I generally do like that type of fantasy. So it sounds like something I would potentially like. I know there is another book, a series that I haven't read that's like a prequel to this one. So definitely, if this is a series I should read, you guys will have to let me know if I should read the prequel series afterwards. I don't know. So Mortal Instruments, do I read it? Do I skip it? The next one I feel like so many people love, and I've never read it before. I even honestly have never even heard of it before BookTube. I've heard of this author, but for a different series. So it is The Raven Boys by Maggie Scheifter. We'll just point to the last name in this picture that I'm going to put here as editing Rai. So The Raven Boys, I know it is like a contemporary fantasy about a group of friends, and that's about all I know about it. But I do know that people are like diehard fans of The Raven Boys, and I feel like I want to read it. But again, is it really that good, or is it just super hyped on BookTube, and that's why I want to read it? So that's why I'm reaching out to you to help me make these really difficult decisions. Like I said, I have heard about this author before from Shiver. I know there was a really popular series when I was student teaching that my kids really liked it. But I honestly, like I said, I never know if she came up with anyone else. So let me know what you think. Next one is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, which kind of rhymes. I like it. So, I know this is a high fantasy, so that's why I'm a little bit nervous by reading this book, because I am newer into the fantasy world, and it is like a very high fantasy books. I believe these were some of her first books that she wrote, and a lot of people recommend not starting Sarah J. Maas with her and actually starting with A Court of Thorns and Roses. So, obviously I've been thinking about reading this series because I have the book, but I have never read anything by Sarah J. Maas before, and I really want to. So I think I would start with this series. Let me know. I know Becca in the books did a whole video of how to read Sarah J. Maas, and she suggested starting with this series. I also do like fantasy romance type things, so I know that this has that in here, so that definitely piques my interest as well. But if you have any suggestions of where I should kind of start with Sarah J. Maas, let me know. But yeah, I do really want to read this one. So I hope you say that this is worth all the hype and that is something I should be reading. So Sarah J. Maas. The next ones are really embarrassing that I've not read, because they're books that I've been wanting to read for a long time, and I would make the effort to go to the library and get these books, but they were always out of the first one, and then I just would never like follow through. I don't know why I never bought them, but it's The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer, and this is, if you're not familiar, is like a science fiction take on some of our old favorite fairy tales, like Cinderella, for example. These books have been around for so long, and I've been wanting to read them, and I just don't know why I haven't read them. I think once I get them, like sometimes they don't sound as interesting, or a lot of times just the library has just been out of them, or not had the first one, which I believe is Cinder, when I've wanted to read them. So are these worth the hype? Do I read them? do I just take the plunge and read the series? I know Marissa Meyer has come out with other things as well that I've heard kind of mixed reviews on, so I don't know if this is mixed reviews as well or if these are pretty beloved by most people. I'm not really sure, so I'm excited to hear what you all have to say about this series. Next one is the Gersha trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. I know literally nothing about this, but I know it is a series that a lot of people like, and it's an author that a lot of people like. So if this is a series that you think, that you tell me is worth all the hype, that it's worth reading, I definitely will investigate more into it. But when I was just going through like booktubers videos, this was one that I saw definitely repeated quite a bit. It's also like ranked like on Google and Goodreads as like a top series, so I jotted it down, but I don't know much about it. So if you want to let me know what I would be getting myself into, let me know below. The next one is also, that's kind of embarrassing because my students really like reading this series and I've recommended it to people, like to kids, because I've heard a lot of good things about it, but I personally have never read it, and that is the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan. And it is a fantasy series, like I've been saying. I believe this one's more of like middle grade to early young adult, but I would say it's more of middle grade fantasy, and I definitely want to get into more of middle grade, so maybe I also would like to participate in the readathon that's going on. That's next month is a middle grade. I'll post information below. It's hosted by from J. Reid Reads and from Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin, and they're teaming up with another middle grade book club to do this amazing like Alice in Wonderland thing. I'll post that below. So maybe if you're letting me know if I should definitely read this series, maybe I'll put that into that readathon next month. But I feel like I should read this series and I haven't, and it's kind of embarrassing, especially since I'm a middle school teacher and it's a popular series in middle school, and I'm pretty sure The Lightning Thief is like part of like the 6th grade curriculum here in New York State, or like was at one point, so kind of embarrassing. As I said before, I also had a prequel to the Mortal Instruments series on my list, and that is Infernal Devices, and this is again by Cassandra Clare. Obviously I won't read this series unless you all tell me that I definitely should read the Mortal Instruments, but it sounds like this one is follows some of the ancestors maybe from some of the characters that are in the first book, so I would definitely be totally interested in reading the series if it's worth all the hype. So the next one is a series that I've heard really mixed things about it, but it's being talked a lot about on Twitter and on BookTube as well. I've seen it also on Bookstagram as well, and that's the Shatter Me series. I'm not going to try and butcher the author's name, but it's on the cover here, the picture I put. All I kind of know is about a girl who has this ability of like, she touches you, she pretty much like ends your life, and that's all I really know, and she hasn't like touched someone in like a really long time. Like I've said, I've heard so many mixed things about this series, so I want to know if it's like definitely worth just trying and form my own opinion about it, or would it be a waste of my time and just kind of like skip this series altogether. But it sounds kind of interesting. It kind of, that whole idea reminds me of the girl, Serpent Girl and Thorn, I believe it's called, where like the whole like touching thing, so that seems really interesting to me, so maybe this series would be interesting. I don't know, but haven't read it yet. Next series that I've never read before, but I've heard being talked quite a bit about from Amanda from Ginger Staff Reads, which I'll post her link below. She just read this series and fell in love with it, and her and my reading interests are super similar. Like most of the books that she loves, I love. The books that we're anticipating for the rest of the year, we're anticipating the same books, so I really trust her judgment when it comes to books, and that is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. So the official series name for this book is Folk of Air series. So this is about Jude, who was 7 when her parents were murdered, and she and her 2 sisters were stolen away to live in the treacherous High Court of Fair. 10 years later, Jude wants nothing more to belong there, but many of the Fae despise humans, especially Prince Caridin, the youngest and wickedest son of the High King. And to win a place at the court, Jude must defy him and face the consequences. So it sounds really interesting. I've never read anything with Fae in it, so this would be like my first exposure probably with some of these series. But like I said, Amanda loved this book, the series as a whole, so I am definitely excited to try it. Again, these are the series that I have heard mixed things about it, so let me know if it's worth trying or just ignore the hype hype and pass up on the series. But like I said, I've heard really good things about this one from a reader that I definitely respect her reviews, and because they align very similar with mine. So the next one is definitely a jump of different type of genre, and it's The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. And I've been wanting to pick up this trilogy. I believe it's a trilogy. I don't know why I haven't picked it up yet, but it's a romance type story, which I have really been getting into. So I definitely would like to try this if everyone says it's definitely worth the hype, or is it not worth the hype. So let me know. I loved her first trilogy that I read by her, so I definitely would be going in with already having some higher expectations because I do like her writing and the way she tells her story. So the next two series are by the same author, and it is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. Again, a series I know literally nothing about, but I know a lot of people talk about Laini Taylor. A lot of people I feel like either love her writing or don't like her writing. Like, I feel like there's very little people that are like in between on her. So I would be excited to let me know what you think of her writing, if it's definitely worth the hype or not. And the last one I have on my list is Strange the Dreamer, which again is by Laini Taylor. And this is like, I've been described as a great portrayal of dreams and like loneliness. Again, I've heard many mixed things about it, but I want to know what the overall decision is by like multiple people before I make my decision based off like one or two people. So I know this is a lot of series and I'm putting a lot of pressure on all of my lovely viewers, but please tell me, is it worth the hype, or is it worth reading these series, or is it not worth the hype and just let it go and not feel guilty about not reading some of BookTube's favorites? So I'm going to be really taking into consideration all of your comments and opinions on this video. I'm really excited to see what everyone has to say. So if you are new to my channel and would like to take this journey with me, press that subscribe button. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you never want to miss any of my content, press that alert button. If you would like to be friends on any of my other social media platforms, all of my information is down below. And yeah, so stay kind, loves, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Special, pretty up from the minute that I met you.